Welcome back you guys, I'm MimiFC, this is Blue Lions TV. Today I bring you guys the player ratings video after an emphatic 2-0 dominant win over Burnley, powered today by Snickers Protein. Now throughout January, I'm teaming up with Snickers Protein to bring to you guys the Snickers Protein fan line. Now I'm going to answer 3 questions that were sent my way. Thank you to everyone that got involved. To answer the first one by _brands, he wants to know, before the window closes, do we have a chance at signing a CDM? And to keep things real, we're more likely to let a player leave in Billy Gilmore compared to bringing someone in right now. And considering the football we're playing, considering how Tuchel is using the pivot, bringing that back into our team, I don't feel like we need to sign any more CDMs before this window closes. To answer the second question sent in by Bruce, he wants to know whether Loftus-Cheek has a future working with Tuchel, and considering how Loftus-Cheek is playing at Fulham right now, playing as more of a cam, and considering how we're using a 3-4-1-2 or a 3-4-2-1, so many variations, Loftus-Cheek most definitely has a future back at this club. And imagining him alongside, your Mason Mounts or even your Kais, just having 3 players of this caliber competing for the spot, honestly, Tuchel's going to have some very tough decisions to make for next season. And to answer the final one by Harry Cobb, he wants to know whether we are in the market to sign any big name players. And Harry, of course man, this is Chelsea Football Club, we now have the money to spend, we have the ambition back in the market, and it's going to be interesting to see what big names you bring in. We're being linked with your Upamecano's, your Haalands, your Alabas, your Marquinhos's, and I feel like we do have a strong opportunity to sign a big name player of this caliber. So thank you to everyone that sent their questions in, and if you want to get involved in the next video, we have the deadline tomorrow you guys. All you have to do is follow me on Twitter @me, then use the hashtag fanline followed by your question, and I'll pick the 3 questions to answer in the video. And before I go you guys, on the 1st of Feb, which is literally on Monday, there's going to be a massive Transfer Deadline Day live stream powered by Snickers Protein, which is going to feature on Ball Street's YouTube channel. I'm going to be on, so you guys support your boy, come and link me in the stream. And of course you guys, while you're at it, why not try a Snickers Protein bar? Can't lie to you guys, he's bang. And now, before I start things off, I want to do things differently and give Tuchel a score first before moving on to the team. And for me, I thought Tuchel just outclassed Burnley. There was nothing they could do. And when a quote came out on socials afterwards about, Brady and Dyche getting in a little argument, Brady effectively saying, I can't catch Callum. I don't know where he is. I can't find him. I think that was just the biggest compliment that Tuchel could receive. And for me, the tactics were on point. And the only thing that affected the quality of the performance was the lack of goals and the inconsistent finishing. But there's only so much the manager can do. For me, Tuchel absolutely got the game plan perfect, you guys. I'm going to score him a 9 out of 10. Starting with Mendy in goal, and to be honest, he had nothing to do throughout this entire game other than a nice little bit of composure to evade one of the Burnley players pressing. So to be honest, these are the perfect goalkeeper performances for me, where they have absolutely nothing to do, and because of that reason, I'm going to score Mendy a standard 6 out of 10. Now we move on to our back 3, starting with Azpilicueta down the right hand side, and this is the position that Azpi was meant for. He can follow things to an absolute T. He can fulfill this role so easily. He knows when to step up and time his runs exceptionally, and the desire that he showed to get that goal, the first opening goal, which was very important because even though we dominated the game, you need a goal to help give you that edge and that advantage. And Azpilicueta, he took responsibility. He produced that moment for the team, and it was a nice finish into the bottom corner, followed by a slight deflection. However, Azpilicueta's tactical understanding of this role allows us to play with that fluidity, create those overloads, and for that reason, Captain Azpi scores a 7 out of 10. Now, moving down to the opposite side in Rudiger, I felt like Rudiger's performance was good today. Now, one thing that really stood out to me was his exceptional passing from deep. We've seen throughout the season that he has that little relationship with Hudson-Odoi where he's constantly able to find him with these ridiculous 70-yard, 80-yard passes from deep, with pace, with venom, and it makes a lot of sense why Tuchel wants him in the back three at this point in time. And considering that Rudiger has good intelligent positioning, he knows when to split wide to receive and start the possession phase, and he knows when to obviously move a bit deeper to help defend. I thought this was a good performance, and for that reason, I'm going to score Rudiger a 7 out of 10. And to complete the back three, we end things with Thiago Silva, and for me, I think it's safe to say that he's been by far our best signing, considering this guy has come to the Premier League at 36 years old. He's absolutely just found it a breeze. And against Burnley, the type of opposition where you feel like maybe Silva's age could be a disadvantage, he might get tested physically, it's impossible. I mean, he really is that good. Throughout the game today, he kickstarts the first phase for the attack, which is important. He led and he commanded, he was communicating, he was telling players where to be. And of course, his interceptions. He was involved in every decisive moment where Burnley were stiffing on goal. And, you know, as I keep stressing, he was our best signing this season. He has improved our defense dramatically. For that reason, Thiago Silva is going to score a 7.5 out of 10. Now, we move on to our wing back, starting down the left-hand side with Marcos Alonso. And you know, Alonso's performance for me, it kind of typifies him in the sense that he wasn't bringing that consistent threat down the left-hand side. And I think for very good reason, he performed his tactical responsibilities very well. It was clear that he was told to stay high and wide and, you know, just hold his shaping position there, which he followed to a T. There wasn't much of a threat though, consistently, even though he didn't necessarily have to bring that. And the decisive moment came in the 84th minute. Alonso, frustrated with the season, barely played, being kicked out, and you know, he's been unhappy. He took out all that frustration in that moment. It was a great piece of play, great control, great volley. We know that Alonso's left foot is absolutely lethal, and for that goal he scored in that manner, followed by a very professional performance today, I'm going to score Marcos Alonso a 7 out of 10. Now, we move down to the opposite flank, and it's time to speak about Callum Starboy-Odoi, Callum Wingback-Odoi. I mean, you guys can go on, and you know, as I stressed in my previous Talking Points video, Callum is not being used in that rigid type of way that we saw with Moses under Conte. Without Tuchel likes to create the overloads down the flanks. Hudson-Odoi was key in everything good in our attacks today. I mean, the fact he only recorded 1 assist, he could have got a ton more. Burnley could not cope at all. He was just outstanding today, and it's that performance that we know that Callum has always had. He's demonstrated this time and time again this season, and it's nice to know that, you know, Tuchel is given the opportunities now to really just take his game to another level. I don't see him playing as a wing back throughout the entire season, but maybe for now, as Tuchel is trying to build some structure back into the team again, I feel like Hudson-Odoi is just demonstrating why, for me, he is such a complete attacking player that can perform so many roles for a team. So honestly, it must be a coach's dream. Throughout the game today, his directness, the runs in behind, his movement, his ability to time his runs too. It's no surprise why Burnley could not cope. They couldn't find him at all. I know I said in the review that Mason Mount was that player for me, but I think due to that consistent excellence he showed in his play, for me, I have to change my opinion, and I'm going to score Hudson-Odoi an 8 out of 10. But now, you guys, we turn our attentions to our midfield pivot in Jorginho and Kovacic, and for my review of these guys, I'm going to score them both together because I felt like they played a very complementary role today. Kova having that responsibility to switch the play a lot more to find Callum, I say it out wide, and with Jorginho tasked with playing a lot of balls in the half spaces between the lines, so obviously, you know, helped find Mason quite a lot, and I think together they played their part. In possession, I thought they both played with that purpose, that speed, and they clearly had an idea of what they had to do. I thought that Jorginho controlled the tempo eventually and controlled things quite well. And I thought that even though some of his long passes were a bit iffy at times, because Kova was there to, you know, bring that long passing ability, this is what I'm trying to stress about how they complemented each other's game. Because for me, and I thought with Kova, he displayed some impressive technical ability and IQ. I mean, this guy's ability in tight spaces, you guys, is up there with the very best. And, you know, even though some of his shooting from outside the box was not hitting the target a few times, you know, it's good to see that Kova is attempting that and hopefully trying to translate that into taking more responsibility in those moments. Because for me, I think that he gets into very good areas to take shots from distance, and let's hope that he continues to improve on this as the season goes on, you guys. But I'm going to score Kova and Jorginho today a 7.5 out of 10. And now we turn things towards our number 10 in the game today in Mason Mount, and for me he had a key role tactically which he fulfilled to a T, and watching how he receives on the half turn, I mean really, it's so impressive. He doesn't get enough credit for that in my personal opinion, and Jorginho was constantly finding him like that throughout the game today. And with Mason, he's such an intelligent player. He knows where to move on and off the ball. He knows how to find his teammates. He understands how to link the play. He plays at pace and speed. And he played a key role in helping to pin the Burnley opposition players, because of course, that was one of the main reasons as to why we were constantly able to find Hudson-Odoi out wide, unmarked, tons of space to run into. And you know, this is an example of why Mount is such a key player, why coaches love him, because of course coaches need players that can fulfill the tactical responsibilities as well as providing that quality as well. I think that as Mason grows though, we're seeing that of course he isn't just this unimaginative English player with no ability that people were saying last season. He has to improve though in regards to, you know, getting more goals, getting more assists too. Yeah, he plays an important part for the team, but I think to go to that next level, it's about translating his great play into more goals and more assists. So for that reason, I'm going to score Mason Mount a 7.5 out of 10. And now for our two strikers up front today, I'm going to score them again, like I did with Kova and Jorginho. With Werner, he demonstrated his good movement off the ball. I mean, that's a standard for him. I think we all know that. However, when it comes to the execution of his shots, you know, it's still not there. There was a great opportunity where Callum set him up with an amazing piece of play down the right hand side, cut back cross inside, and the ball went through his legs, it went behind him, and he got the timing completely wrong. And a few times he forced shots from, you know, very poor areas that weren't really going to test the goalkeeper. And then when he moved up front, I felt like maybe Werner, you know, other than that one header from Hudson-Odoi, you're really hoping he does a lot better in that situation. It wasn't terrible, because we have seen worse performances from him, but it was fairly standard. And I think it was the same thing for Tammy. It seemed like he went off with a knock after colliding with Mason Mount, and after that his game was just a bit iffy naturally. But you know, at times, again, he's the type of player that coaches do like, because he performs the duties on the field. He was constantly dropping deep at times to allow Werner to run into the spaces behind, and I feel like as the season goes on, maybe we are going to see more of Tammy and Werner together, because I do feel though with Werner, to make that space for him, the striker alongside him has to create that. And it brings up interesting questions about Kai Havertz, because we know Kai can play as a striker. Maybe at times this season, I'd be very open to seeing that happening, but for the score, you guys, they're both going to get a 6 out of 10. And now to end things with the subs, with Pulisic, I thought when he came on in the second half, you know, his introduction was good. He didn't run with the ball as much. There was more of a focus on movement in behind, and in the second half, we saw him interchange alongside Timo Werner especially, and you know, it was interesting to see. Of course, he played the decisive assist for Marcos Alonso's second goal, but there was then another opportunity near the end where he never found Werner or Kai with an outside of the boot pass, and in a situation like that, you can't really afford to mess up. So for me, I thought Pulisic, you know, he added to the momentum, he added to the movement, and for me, he's going to score a 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to Reece James, I thought when he came on, he literally just maintained that same momentum and consistency that Callum brought in the game. Now, for me, I do feel like Tuchel's going to have some very hard decisions to make, because Reece James has arguably been one of the players of the season before Lampard got sacked, and with what he brings on the field, I feel like it would be criminal if he lost his place entirely in the team. It just wouldn't make too much sense for me. He comes on, he's involved, he's putting crosses of quality inside the box, he's taking shots inside the box, he's getting stuck in with his tackles and using his strength. And for me, you know, I'm hoping as the season goes on, maybe he might get some game time in Aspie's position or even playing as a wing back, but who knows what's going to happen, you guys. But all I do know is that Reece James is going to score a 6 out of 10. And with Kai Havertz, he's going to score an NA, because there wasn't much time for him to really influence things. We saw some good runs off the ball down the left-hand side, and I think that was pretty much it. Maybe if Pulisic was able to find one of these guys, things would have been a bit different. However, there you guys, that was the player ratings video. In the comments below, give me your scores for the team today. I'm EFC, this is Blue Line CV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.